This is Kovu. I'm going to be creating a intro to exploration video guide or video series on exploration in wormholes. Now, although it is an intro course, I'm going to be going over some pretty extensive and fairly in-depth tips on how you don't get killed in wormhole space. I know everyone's going to tell you this is a dangerous, spooky space and all that nonsense, but honestly, it's not bad. Yes, you will eventually die. Yes, even though with all the preparation you could ever do, the attacker will still always have the advantage. Now, why am I making a video? As you probably can tell, my character is in Wingspan Delivery Services. Me giving advice to new players seems a little counterproductive for me. Yes and no. Although hopefully those of you who watch this will learn something and you will be harder to catch. It'll also hopefully make you feel safer. That way I actually get more people in wormhole space. And that's the issue. Wormhole space over the past couple of months has had a couple of changes made by CCP that really discouraged people from living in wormhole space, so it's feeling a little bit empty, which is a good thing and a bad thing. Good thing, less competition, less people trying to kill you, more ISK you can make. Bad thing, the only people who are left really are those who really know what they're doing. So let's try to get you out of the I don't know what I'm doing, I'm going to fit warp core stabs and sit stationary on a Poco or the sun, and let's get you out of safe, moving, aligning, and being very difficult to catch. Now, one of the very first things you will have to do is find a wormhole. How do you do that? Go somewhere. Anywhere, except for Jita. Go to any system. You'll see cosmic signatures, not anomalies, cosmic signatures. And you need to scan them down. In order to do that, you need a probe launcher. Let's go ahead and take a look at this fit. Right here. You need a probe launcher. It doesn't have to be Sister's Core. It can easily be Tech 1. Then you need probes. I'm using Sister Core because it gives you stronger strength. You can easily just do Tech 1. Doesn't really matter. Now, first thing you're going to notice, my fit is PvP fit. As a new bro, you don't necessarily want to do this. You're not going to be able to kill too much unless you're in a battle heron. So, what you want to fit is a prop mod. Usually a compact micro because you don't have a ton of fitting space. Then data and relic analyzers. Now, usually I don't personally hack data sites. They don't usually give that much ISK. However, you're a new bro, so your budget is less than mine. So you actually might want to, because that could be considerable for you. The next thing that you might want to consider is a cargo scanner. Cargo scanner is going to be able to do exactly what the name implies, allow you to scan the can. That will tell you what's inside before you waste time hacking it. So you don't waste time going, okay, great, this was a very difficult hack. It took me quite a while to do, took a lot of brain power, and there's nothing inside. Great. So, reasons to avoid it. Not only does it waste your time, it gives more time for the attacker to set up. That's the problem. That's the biggest issue with this. Everything in wormhole space is on a timer for the hypothetical person that is sitting cloaked waiting for you. So, we will avoid that to the best we can. Very first thing you need to scan it down. Once you scan it down, you need to bookmark it. How you want to bookmark it, I don't care. Get some kind of system though that you can easily understand. Here in Wingspan, we do CX for the class, because I don't know what class it is right now. It could be C1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so on and so forth. Then the signature ID. It's RAA, so ID is found right here. And then destination, we only put the last 3 in. Whatever format you want for bookmarking, stick to it. Make sure it works for you. We do it this way because in Tripwire it shows all the other information, which is a perfect segue to talk about what Tripwire is. Tripwire is a free mapping service for wormholes. You simply go ahead, copy paste the signatures into it, and Tripwire will create a node-based map for you. Easily understood, easily digestible, and you don't get lost. If you choose not to use Tripwire, that's okay. Pen and paper will work for the most part. Now, going off of classes and hacking and all that fun stuff, as a explorer, you're looking for data and relic sites. Be more specific, you're looking for data and relic sites of pirate faction only. You don't want to hack sleeper ones, because that'll be very difficult to hack. There's also going to be rats there. Very difficult to kill the rats, mind you. It's actually harder than the normal combat sites. So, don't warp to the sleeper ones. It'll say like unsecure or something else. What you want to warp to are pirate faction sites. Sancha, Garistas, Serpentis, Angel Cartel, doesn't matter. Anything with that name, there won't be rats there. There's one exception. If you warp to something called a covert research facility, you will have, with variance, about 45 seconds to finish the hack. If you do not, the site will explode. It will one-shot you. Sorry. So, as a new bro, don't do those ones, and you're golden. Now, you can see here this bookmark isn't actually too helpful, right? It's CXRAA destination. We don't know what the class is. We don't know what the destination is. So, why did I put a pretty vague bookmark? Because you can right-click it, edit the location. What this allows you to do is save and update the bookmark from the other side. If you have tried to do this before and you didn't know about this edit thing, what you would have most likely done is jump into the wormhole and go, okay, how do I edit the other side? You can't. You can't even go and here, let me close out of this. Not that one. Cancel. You can't even do save location and then jump through. That does not work. You need to edit the location from the other side. So save what we call a temporary bookmark, like so, and then jump through and edit it on the other side. Once you do so, Tripwire will automatically populate. It'll tell you what the class is, and obviously you know what the destination is because you are inside of it. So right now I am in a C3. This effect down here is called the pulsar effect. It provides various bonuses. Not all wormholes are like that. Some of them are vanilla, which will give you no effect. Some of them increase damage of small weapons and decrease signature radius and yada yada. So now that we just jumped through, second thing you need to do, save your exit. I'm going to do HiSec, SIG, because I don't know what signature it is, and then what the HiSec system was. Whatever that is. Very next thing you need to do, great, nothing in here. Very next thing you need to do is figure out how you want to create a safe. As a new bro, you most likely don't have this magical thing called the cloaking device, so you need to make a safe. What that is you warp to something, hit Control B to save a location, and while you're moving, hit submit. What Control B does is tell CCP, hey, get the pen ready, I'm going to pick a spot. Like so. When you hit submit, it tells CCP, drop the pen here. And that's where your bookmark is. You can go ahead, warp there once you finally get out of warp. And you are now at your new magical safe. What this means and why we call it a safe is the only way people can get you is with combat probes. Now, you'll see combat probes. They'll pop up on your D-scan if you have them showing, which you should by default. You'll see them. If you see someone combat scanning you, two things need to go through your head. Either you are not very fast and you need to leave, so you do so, or you fit a micro warp drive to your ship and you're moving at about 3 kilometers a second. Now, the reason I say move at 3 kilometers a second, do so, double click in space, randomly, don't align to anything. You're now moving. When they combat scan you and then land on grid with you, they will do so cloaked. You won't know they're there. But they are slow. Warping takes time. It takes time to enter warp, it takes time to land. It takes time while you're in warp. If you're moving at about 3 kilometers a second, by the time they actually land on you, you're going to be somewhere around 30 to 50 kilometers away from them by the time they're fully done landing. What that means, I'm not going to kill you. Period. I'm just not going to be able to do it while you're sitting at a safe and moving. you're going to notice there's going to be a theme here about always moving. So, I can't kill you now that you're at your safe and you're moving. If you aren't fit for speed and you see combat probes, just warp away. It's okay. Very next thing you want to do once you've created your safe is you don't want to waste time scanning your high sec. Right. I've got 2 signatures in here. That one, this one. You can probe them down by going to 8AU and slowly narrowing them down. Or, because you've already saved a bookmark right here, which is the high sec and you know it is, go ahead, scroll way in, set your probe size to 0.5, and scan the bookmark. That'll give you the wormhole. Wait for it to analyze, and then you will see in real time exactly what I'm talking about. Now, this doesn't really matter for this one. There's only 2, and I already know that that's the wormhole out. But for systems where it's got like 20, 40 signatures you gotta scan down, just knock the exit already out. You already know where it is. You already see that because you've got a bookmark for it. So just go scan it there. It's easy. Requires no thought. Hopefully this is a data or relic site so I can showcase a trick. It is. Good. Hopefully it's a hackable data site. So do so, scanning down, do so by this. Just narrow that probe strength in closer and closer. Eventually you'll get it. We've got the data site. Data sites don't give you a ton of ISK, but we're going to do it so I can showcase the trick. Much like creating a safe, what you're going to do is you're going to hit Control B. That's going to create a temporary spot. Don't hit submit yet. You are going to warp to the site at 0. You know it's safe because it's a pirate site. Perfect. Go ahead, warp there. When you go to land, what you are going to do, this number down here is showing your distance away. When you see anything less than 10 kilometers, you're considered on grid, hit submit. Just like so. What that has done is created a tactical or a perch. Doesn't matter what you call it, they're the same thing. You see here, it's called spot and whatever. Here, we'll change the name, make it all fancy. It's now called TAC. TAC. 700 or 800 kilometers away from the site. Perfect. How does this save you time? And why is it safer? Let's say you don't have a cloaking device and you warp to this site. When you go to slow boat to a can, like so, you create this vector. It's shown with a tactical overlay. More importantly, I can just see what can you're moving to. What that means for me is I can position myself to this can so that when you go there to start hacking, I am already there. That's how a lot of you guys die. The next point I'm going to make here is how a lot of you guys die is you sit stationary on the can. Never stop moving. I know, double negative. Keep moving. Always move. I can't stress this enough. Always move. Orbit the can at 500. Don't put your prop mod on. Prop mod's going to make it so it's harder for you to align out. Orbit the can at 500. Some of you are probably sitting there go, well, I'm safe. I've got warp core stabs on. You are not safe. You can put, I don't know, some ridiculous amount. You could put 20 warp core stabs on a ship. And I could only have a scram. Now on paper, you'll get out. In reality, you won't. Why? Because you need to align in order to get out of this. Right? In order to initiate warp, you first need to align to something. What happens when another ship collides with you? Well, it takes you out of that align vector. Of course, if you're, say, warping to a point, and then it goes point U, and then your attacker, and they bump you, all they really did was increase your speed, so yes, you can warp out faster in that case. In most cases, however, what's going to happen is your attacker is going to position themselves so it goes, can you're hacking, your ship, them. What that's going to do is they're going to take your ship, smash you into the can, and then they're going to come behind you and wedge you in. So whenever you try to warp out of here, you won't be able to. You'll simply collide back and forth, can, them, can, them, can, them. You're never going to get out of this situation. Doesn't matter how many warp core stabs you fit. You'll just die. Perfect. Orbit. Orbit at 500, or you can orbit at 750. I'll show you how to change your default orbit. So when you look at a can, you go orbit, you do various things. You can do that. You can hold down your left click, go to orbit, and then drag it out like so, which will change it in increments of 250. Or what you can do is you can right click this set default orbit, change it whatever you want, make it, let's say, 750. That's too close for you and you want just slightly further out. 755, doesn't matter. Perfect. Now that that's taken care of, you're at the data site. How do you want to hack this without slow butting to the can? Warp to your tactical. This is very important. Your tactical needs to be greater than 150 kilometers away from whatever you're at. If it's not warpable. 150 is the minimum distance in order to initiate warp. So, that's why I say when you see that 10 kilometers pop up down there, hit save. Perfect. Sorry, not 10 kilometers, 10,000 kilometers. Now that you're at the tactical, what do? You're going to slow boat to the can from here? Hell no. Hit warp. Warp to the can from here. You're going to go to the can, you're going to warp to the can, hack the can, warp back to the tactical. If you are not fit for PvP, I highly recommend you fit a cargo scanner. Once you have a cargo scanner, you can actually figure out what cans, are worthwhile. What that's going to do is mask some of what you're hacking. That's very important for you because it's going to make it so that when you... Sorry, hacking takes a lot of brain power from me for some reason. Let me warp back to the tactical and I'll explain this in more detail. When you start hacking and you realize, I don't know, 2 cans have no loot in them, and you warp back to this tactical, they're not going to know what can you're going to, so they're just going to simply wait. They're going to do the exact same thing you're doing. They're going to sit on a perch and wait for you to get down to 1 or 2 cans. When they see you have 2 cans left, they're going to wait for you to go to that 1 can, and then they're going to warp to the opposite one and wait for you to come to them. But you've cargo scanned them, right? You know what's in there. You know nothing's in there. So you're going to go to your second to last can, you're going to hack it, you're going to warp off. They're going to keep waiting. You're not coming back. Perfect. You have wasted their time. You've cherry-picked the site. You didn't remove the signature from your overview because this signature here, when you hack all the cans, it goes away. So you actually notify people what you're doing. You notify them that you just finished one site and you're most likely going to go to another site. More importantly, for the guy who's sitting there waiting, they will keep waiting because that signature is still there. They don't know when you're coming back, and eventually, at some unknown time, they will get sick of waiting. Your chances of dying are very low when you go through it this way. Yes, you can still die. Yes, people put interdictors on these sites, so when you land, they just pop a warp disruption bubble, and then you can't warp. Yeah, dying is kind of a thing of wormhole space. However, this is significantly more difficult for the attacker to kill you. This is like you sitting stationary to you moving a mile a minute for us. We have to be able to anticipate what cans you're going to hack. We have to be very, very quick on the draw. If you are orbiting the can, you're moving. So even for a fit that I use somewhat frequently, the artillery Loki, which if you look at my other videos you see what it does. All I do is decloak, instant lock, and fire a volley and it one-shots you. If you move, I will most likely glance. There is still a chance that I hit, of course. If you looked at my Careless Frigates video, you'll see the last one there was an Astero who was still moving when I decloaked and I glanced. Yeah, he didn't die. Good on him. He was sitting stationary at all the cans, so I saw his ship slowing down, and so I was like, oh, okay, this is my chance. But he wasn't. He ended up accelerating. It glanced. You orbiting will have the same effect. It'll most likely glance. If you sit still, you can get bumped into the can. You can get one shot. Don't sit still. It's just that simple. Now, when you hack, there's something called the rule of 6. Let me warp over to this can, and I'll do my best to think and explain what I'm doing at once. Hopefully nobody jumps me. So, land at the can. Go ahead, start orbiting it. Begin your hack. You see these nodes here that got 6 all around them? and there's a center one there. If anything is in the center one, you know the end node is within one of it. That's really it. I don't know if I'll get an example here, but see how I just clicked on that one spot and it showed a 1? The 1's going to tell you something good is nearby. If that was a hostile thing that I clicked on here, it'll say that the end node is in any of these last spots. Now I know my cursor isn't showing. I wish there was a way to change that in my recording stuff. But if the center had a hostile node, the end node is in any of these ones that I'm lighting up with my cursor. Now I know there's something good there. Let me see if I can find that for you. It's called the rule of 6. I know Eve University will display it. But that's really it. There isn't much more when it comes to hacking. This is obviously warping to the tack is going to save you tons and tons of time, because not only are you not slow boating, you're hiding movement. You don't have to sit there and manage your prop mod. The micro warp drive increases your signature radius, which is very dangerous for you because that means it's easier for someone to lock you. All that fun stuff. That's really it for basic level exploring. Now, at the very beginning of the video, I did talk about classes. I am going to rehash on that fact a little bit more here. Oh, good. Rule 6. Hostile node was right there. I know the good one is somewhere nearby, just like so. It'll be like that for anything. Anything you go to hack, if you get a hostile node surrounded by 6 other random things, the end node will be there, somewhere in that 6. Alright, going back to classes. C1, C2, C3. Class 1, Class 2, Class 3. Those are going to have pirate stuff in them. It'll be pirate data relic sites, something that you can actually hack. Anything higher than that, C4, 5, 6, excluding 13. C13 special. Shattered are special, I should say. C4, C5, C6 will not. The only pirate site that it will have are covert research facilities. Now, you can do covert research facilities if you want to. You are on a 45-second timer, so I advise not to. You're a new bro. You don't have the faction scanners and you're not fit with black glass in your head, so it will be a little bit difficult for you in a time crunch. So I recommend just avoid it for now. That's something you can do when you get more skill points. Some people might be saying, I've got an instant warp ship, so I'm going to sit stationary. I advise you not to. The reason I advise not to is when I go to jump somebody who's sitting stationary, I won't decloak until I am 2 kilometers from your ship. So I will warp to the can at 5 kilometers by manually changing my default warp distance, so it takes less time for me to get there. And then I just approach your ship that's stationary. Now you're going, well, I can instant warp, so I should be able to get out before you actually collide with me. That's not true. Instant warp is a term that we use because it means that an instant lock won't catch you. If I bump your ship, however, you'll be moving in a direction. Now, some basic level physics here. You're moving in a direction, let's say it's opposite to the direction you want to move to. You need to slow your ship down entirely, change direction, and then speed up to get into warp. Warp takes 70% of your movement speed. Now, you're going, I'm instant warp. It won't really matter. Well, if I bump you, knock you in the opposite direction, you need to turn around. You need to slow down, turn around, and move 70% of your maximum velocity. I will then collide with you again, buying me more time. Then you need to stop your ship, turn around, and then keep going. Unfortunately, by then, it's no longer instant. You're probably at about 2 or 4 seconds of just me constantly bumping into you. And that's if we don't collide you into the can. Now, What happens in that case? I bump you, you can't warp because you're thrown off an alignment vector. It takes you time to even slow your ship down and change your direction. And there you go. You're now dead because you sat stationary at the can. If you're sitting stationary and the attacker has ample amount of time, they will try to position themselves so it goes can, you, them. Then they'll bump you into the can. You'll die at the can because you can't go anywhere. If you orbit the can, it becomes very difficult for the attacker. What they can do in the attacker, and what I have done in the past, is position myself within your orbit vector so that you will collide into me. That's difficult for me to do. It's difficult for me to catch you that way because I don't provide any opposite force to you. I don't bump you, you simply bump me. Because of your lighter mass, you'll bump my ship. I'll move like an inch away in the opposite direction from you. You'll move the opposite direction from me. But that means I need to take my greater mass, stop, turn around, collide with you. Meanwhile, you're just going to warp. That's the benefit of orbiting, even with an instant warp. And I think that takes care of basic exploration. There is one thing I do want to go over here about fitting. Obviously, don't fit warp core stabs. They're not going to do anything for you. I've noticed there's been an uptick in people fitting expanded probe launchers. Don't. There's nothing you're going to do that's going to use combat scanners. Expanded probe launcher doesn't do anything for you. It allows you to hold more probes. However, it's a little bit strange here. I'll demonstrate it for you. In my cargo hold, I have 8 probes here. A regular core launcher takes 8 probes. I can decloak, launch them. It'll automatically reload. So you don't need to worry about that. Like at all. At all. Even if you cloaked and then warped, it'll still automatically reload. So you don't need to worry about that at all. I promise. So don't fit an expanded probe launcher. Then another catch we always find, people tend to fit salvagers. There's nothing in wormhole space that you'll be salvaging in an explorer. You're not going to get any kills. If you happen to find someone who's running a combat site, trust me, they're going to be salvaging it afterwards, because people who live in wormholes want to build T3s, like T3 destroyers, T3 cruisers, and they need this sleeper salvage. So even though they left, they will be back, I promise. So that's just another way for you to die. So yeah, don't fit salvagers, don't fit warp core stabs, don't fit expanded probe launchers. Get a mapping tool. Doesn't really matter what, pen and paper works fine for what you're doing. Find a sufficient bookmarking technique so that you can easily understand. Use a safe, whether you want to sit stationary at the safe or if you want to move. I recommend moving. If you aren't speed fit, I recommend aligning to your high sec so you can just gone and warp the second you see someone decloak from you. Get a safe, create a perch on all your hacking sites. Create a perch on your hacking sites, orbit it. This is going to keep you infinitely more safe. Alright, thank you for watching this very brief tutorial on how to actually hack with, some safety in a not very safe space. I know it's a lot of information. I know most of this isn't taught in the game. I promise this is all valuable stuff. No part of this isn't going to help keep you safe. And I know it's, can I really trust this guy? He's a PvPer. He likes to kill people. Yes, I do. But I also don't like jumping into systems with nobody in them. So, yes, I am telling you the tricks of the trade. This will keep you infinitely safer. Anyway, thank you for watching. You can expect more videos on Intro to Wormholes. There's a whole lot to go over. I've got hunting tips that I'm going to make in the next video. And then I also have to go over various ratting for those of you who want to run combat sites. So make sure you subscribe. You'll get notified of when the next videos come up when they do. Alright. Thank you guys. See you later.